Most people assume the biggest mistake you can make when buying a generator cord is picking the wrong length. The mistake that deserves your attention is far more serious because it's trusting a safety label that may never have represented real testing in the first place, and that's exactly how deceptive marketplace listings quietly get away with it. When a generator becomes your backup during a power outage, the cord connecting it isn't just another accessory sitting in the garage. It becomes the only path carrying electricity from the generator to the equipment you're depending on. And if that path is backed by a counterfeit certification mark instead of genuine testing, you've placed your safety in the hands of whoever created the product listing rather than an independent safety organization. Today we're exposing one of the least talked about problems in the electrical industry: fake or unauthorized UL listings on generator cords, how they found their way into online marketplaces, and how you can separate legitimate safety certification from marketing designed to imitate it. Experienced buyers eventually notice the same pattern every time. The product photos look clean and professional. The title is loaded with technical buzzwords. The description proudly announces that the cord is unlisted, and the price sits just low enough to make it feel like you've discovered a hidden bargain, instead of accepting a compromise. That's where the trap closes. The common enemy isn't Amazon, and it isn't online shopping itself. The real problem is a growing business model built around exploiting consumer trust by displaying certification claims that look convincing at first glance, but don't always hold up when someone actually checks them. Anyone who works around generators, transfer equipment, or electrical systems understands something that many casual buyers never think about. Electricity doesn't care how polished a product page looks or how convincing the marketing sounds. It only responds to whether the engineering inside the product can safely handle the current it's expected to carry. That's why organizations like UL Solutions exist. Their purpose isn't to hand out impressive-looking logos. They're there to independently evaluate products against established safety standards before manufacturers are authorized to place the UL certification mark on those products. And that authorization isn't something a company earns once and keeps forever. According to UL Solutions, certified manufacturers remain subject to continuing compliance through ongoing oversight, which means the UL certification mark represents an entire certification process instead of a graphic printed on a package. That's what makes what happened next so concerning. In September 2021, UL Solutions issued a public warning involving generator distribution extension cords displaying unauthorized UL certification marks. Notice the wording carefully. The warning wasn't about poor reviews or cheap construction. It specifically identified unauthorized UL certification marks, and that distinction completely changes the conversation. A defective product is one issue. A product displaying a certification it was never authorized to use is something entirely different. According to UL, those products did not comply with UL safety standards and were not authorized to bear the UL mark. At that point, the question is no longer whether you're getting a good deal. The real issue becomes understanding exactly what you're looking at before that cord ever gets plugged into a generator. The warning identified generator distribution extension cords associated with Ningbo Xuanhua Electric Co., including approximately 25-foot, 10-foot, and 1.5-foot versions. What drew UL's attention wasn't the packaging, the branding, or even the color of the cords. The hidden problem was the electrical design itself. According to UL, the input plug on those products carried a 30 amp rating, while the output receptacles were rated for only 20 amps, a mismatch that violated UL safety requirements and created an increased fire hazard. To someone unfamiliar with electrical equipment, those numbers might sound like minor specifications buried deep inside a manual. Anyone who works with generators knows they're anything but minor, because those ratings define the limits the equipment was engineered to handle. Generator cords aren't decorative accessories. Every conductor, connector, and receptacle is designed around specific electrical ratings, and those ratings are engineering limits rather than marketing suggestions. Once those limits are exceeded, The margin between normal operation and dangerous overheating begins disappearing much faster than most people realize. That's why certification matters. Independent testing exists to catch problems like these before products ever reach consumers, and without that process, buyers are left relying almost entirely on product descriptions written by sellers whose priorities may have very little to do with electrical safety. That's also where online marketplaces become more complicated than many people assume. One of the biggest misconceptions is believing that every product appearing on a major marketplace has somehow been individually verified simply because it's available for purchase. That isn't how marketplace systems operate. Many generator cords are sold through third-party sellers instead of Amazon itself, and those sellers can disappear, rebrand, or change names over time, while nearly identical products continue appearing under completely different brand identities. Experienced buyers treat that as a signal to slow down. When branding changes faster than the engineering behind the product, you're often looking at marketing instead of manufacturing. It's important to stay honest here because exaggeration doesn't help anyone. Not every generator cord sold on Amazon is unsafe, and nothing in the available evidence supports making that claim. Plenty of reputable manufacturers sell legitimate, properly certified products through Amazon every day. The marketplace isn't the problem. Counterfeit certification, unauthorized certification marks, and fraudulent safety claims attached to certain third-party listings are the real issue, and keeping that distinction clear matters because accuracy is far more useful than fear. The objective isn't paranoia. The objective is verification. And verification starts with understanding what a genuine UL listing actually represents. Most buyers assume the logo itself is the proof. The reality is much simpler, because the logo is only supposed to point toward proof that already exists somewhere else. It maintains an official certification directory where consumers can verify manufacturers and certification information. If the file number doesn't exist, if it belongs to another manufacturer, or if it identifies an entirely different product, those aren't harmless mistakes. They're warning signs that deserve immediate attention. This single habit separates experienced equipment buyers from impulse shoppers. Seasoned buyers don't stop reading after the product title. They verify the claim behind it, because once a counterfeit certification mark successfully imitates the real thing, the danger isn't limited to the product itself. The real danger is the confidence that fake certification creates. False confidence is often more dangerous than an obvious defect. That's exactly what deceptive listings are designed to manufacture. A polished product page, technical language, and a familiar certification logo encourage your brain to relax. Without realizing it, you assume someone else already verified everything for you, and that's the shortcut counterfeit certification is designed to exploit. The uncomfortable reality is that a fake or unauthorized UL mark doesn't just imitate a logo. It imitates trust. Trust is one of the most valuable assets in the electrical industry because it's built on independent verification rather than marketing claims. Think about why organizations like UL Solutions exist in the first place. Manufacturers naturally want to sell products, consumers naturally want to save money, and although those goals often align, they don't always. Independent organizations exist because someone has to stand between commercial incentives and public safety, and that's the role UL Solutions is intended to fill. A genuine UL certification mark tells buyers that a product completed an independent evaluation process, and that the manufacturer has been authorized to use that mark while remaining subject to continuing oversight. Take away that independent verification, and the entire system begins resting on one thing: claims. Claims are easy to print on a product page. That's why the September 2021 warning extends far beyond the specific generator cords involved. It wasn't simply criticizing questionable engineering. It publicly stated that the identified generator distribution extension cords were not authorized to bear the UL mark, which completely changes how certification should be viewed. A printed symbol isn't evidence. Authorization is now considered the environment where these products are sold. Marketplace listings move quickly. Sellers can change names, Products are frequently rebranded, old listings disappear, and nearly identical listings can reappear under completely different branding while looking almost identical to the originals. For the average buyer, tracking that ecosystem is nearly impossible. That's why experienced buyers refuse to rely on branding alone. They verify convenience isn't the enemy here. Buying online is incredibly useful, and none of that is the problem. The hidden catch is allowing convenience to replace due diligence when you're purchasing equipment designed to carry substantial electrical loads. There's another event that reinforces this broader pattern. In September 2022, the US Consumer Product Safety Commission issued a warning about hazardous male-to-male extension cords sold on Amazon. These weren't the same generator distribution extension cords discussed in the UL warning, but they belong to the same larger conversation surrounding generator-related electrical accessories. According to the CPSC, consumers should immediately stop using those cords because they presented hazards including electrocution, fire, and carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide might seem unrelated until you consider how unsafe generator setups work in the real world. Electrical hazards aren't always isolated problems because improper generator use can also encourage operating conditions that expose people to dangerous generator exhaust, creating an entirely separate category of risk. Once again, the lesson isn't that every product sold online is unsafe. The lesson is that unsafe products can exist right beside legitimate ones inside the same marketplace. And unless buyers know how to verify what they're looking at, distinguishing between them isn't always obvious. That's where deceptive marketing becomes incredibly effective. The product doesn't need to look obviously fake. It only needs to appear trustworthy long enough for someone to click buy now. Experienced buyers understand this, which is why they spend less time focusing on polished advertising and more time checking traceability. Can the certification actually be verified? Can the manufacturer be identified? Does the certification information match the product being sold? Those questions aren't exciting. They're the ones that matter. What's fascinating is how small the psychological gap really is. One familiar logo, one confident sentence inside a product description, and one quiet assumption that somebody else already checked everything can be enough to make skepticism disappear. Once that happens, verification usually disappears with it. There's another misconception that deserves attention. Many people assume counterfeit certification only affects obscure, low-volume products. Recent enforcement efforts suggest the misuse of UL marks reaches well beyond generator accessories. Amazon and UL have also pursued legal action involving alleged counterfeit UL certification claims in other electrical product categories. The products may change. The tactic stays exactly the same. Borrow the credibility of a respected certification, place that credibility in front of buyers, and hope nobody ever verifies the claim behind it. That's why this conversation extends far beyond one generator cord. It's really about understanding that trust can be manufactured just as easily as packaging. The smartest buyers aren't cynical. They're methodical. They understand genuine safety isn't created by persuasive marketing language. It's demonstrated through certification that can actually be verified. And once you adopt that mindset, your buying decisions begin to change in a surprisingly simple way. You stop shopping for promises. You start shopping for proof. The deeper lesson has never been limited to generator cords. It's about what happens when consumers hand their judgment over to symbols they never verify for themselves. For decades, certification marks have served as shortcuts. You recognize the mark, assume the testing happened, assume the manufacturing process was reviewed, and assume an independent organization confirmed the product met established safety standards. Most of the time, that's exactly how the system is supposed to work. The problem begins when bad actors discover it's much easier to imitate the appearance of trust than to earn it through legitimate certification. That's why UL Solutions provides an official certification directory. Instead of asking whether a listing says UL listed, experienced buyers ask whether the certification can actually be verified. If the file number doesn't exist, if it belongs to another manufacturer, or if it corresponds to an entirely different product, those aren't minor inconsistencies that can be ignored. There are clear reasons to stop, investigate, and verify everything before plugging that product into a generator capable of delivering substantial electrical power. Notice the difference between professionals and everyone else. Professionals don't assume, they confirm. They understand every shortcut taken before electricity starts flowing becomes a potential risk after it does. And that's a mindset worth adopting no matter where you purchase your equipment. Whether you're shopping on Amazon or any other marketplace, a recognizable logo should never replace independent verification. The marketplace isn't your quality inspector. The product listing isn't your electrical engineer. A polished page isn't proof of compliance. Real protection comes from knowing how to distinguish genuine certification from marketing that's designed to look like certification. The people using counterfeit or unauthorized certification marks are depending on one thing. They're counting on buyers to stop asking questions the moment they recognize a familiar symbol. Don't give them that advantage. Treat certification the same way professionals do. Verify it instead of assuming it's real. When you're dealing with electrical equipment, the difference between authentic compliance and counterfeit confidence isn't measured by how convincing a product page appears. It's measured by whether the safety claims behind that page can survive independent scrutiny. The next time you're shopping for a generator cord, don't let the lowest price or the biggest certification badge make the decision for you. Make the certification earn your trust. The buyers who avoid expensive mistakes aren't necessarily the ones who spend the most money. They're the ones who verify first and click second.